Actually, you know what? I want to pick it from the same deck. Why is the Knight of Blades in their future? Oh. Okay. Give me a remedy. Yeah. Okay. This seems like a very, very specific reading. All right. So let's use the analogy or the example of if you have entered a new life, or you have become a new person, or you're in a new surroundings or a new situation, or things. If you have been in the same place the whole time, it seems like the culture around you has changed. Like, let me use an analogy. Around where I live, there's a city called Salida, which is actually pronounced Salida, but the locals call it Salida. It used to be like a mining town, and was known back in the day, of course, for brothels and hotels and miners stuff. And sometime, I'm not sure exactly when it happened, maybe in the 70s or the 80s, maybe even later, there was a huge culture culture change, where it became an artist community. There were galleries everywhere. Everyone rides around on beach cruisers and bicycles. The whole culture changed. The way that they made their money changed. The things that they chose to do with their lives changed. It became much more of a tourist attraction rather than a miner's town of locals, where travelers go through. There's lots of restaurants, galleries, creative artists, music, live music, kayaking. All this new energy came in, where I have met older locals there that speak of a totally different time when it wasn't like that at all, and how it very quickly, in a fairly short period of time, changed drastically. And when cultures change like that, the kinds of people that the place attracts changes. You have different kinds of people than before coming in. You might have lived in an area that was extremely rural, had a low population, and all of a sudden people are flocking to live there right now, and so it's changing the culture. Or perhaps you lived in a place that was very prosperous, did well with money, and had a bigger population, and for some reason the economy has changed, where now it's not as prosperous as it used to be. It's not as easy to make a living there, or the population has shrunk. I'm seeing something in here about either you have moved to a completely different environment than where you were before, or if you have been there the whole time, the culture around you has changed dramatically. And so it's almost as if you're in a different place now, even though certain elements will always be the same or have the same history. Things are different now. So, but let's use the analogy that you moved to a new place and now you're getting to know the people in your environment. Perhaps you have a new job. So, there's the Knight of Blades. I'm just going to tell you what I see. To me, this looks like you're in a new job. You're skilled at what you do. You have talent, but maybe you had a customer or somebody else in the mix that gave a bad review, or asked to speak to the manager and complained about you, or something about what you're doing is different from what the boss allows or the boss wants you to do. It's like the boss seems very rigid in how things are done. You have to do things in this particular way. Chop, chop, chop. Do it now. And it looks like you're more of a free spirit that's willing to experiment, or to do things slightly differently, or add some fresh new energy into a situation, or you just might have a god-awful boss that is just really mean and rude and obsessed with power, or drunk with their own power as being boss. Who knows what's going on here? It could be that the boss is having a really crappy time in their life right now. Maybe they're in the middle of a divorce, or they recently got diagnosed as having cancer, or something's going on with the boss where they are acting in ways that are not like them, or they're acting more obnoxious or more difficult than they normally do, possibly because of some personal things going on with them. But to me, it looks like a bad review, or a customer complains, or your boss gets angry over something. Maybe there's a careless small mistake here, or maybe what you did was perfectly fine. It's just you had a difficult customer that wanted to complain, or found some kind of fault in what you did, or it wasn't what they wanted, or some kind of snafu or mistake, or maybe you got rude with someone, or you spoke up to someone and the person turned it into something way bigger than it was, and you end up getting in trouble or getting yelled at, or there's some kind of argument here over possible misunderstandings, or being blamed for something, or just a difficult day. Just those crappy days, You wake up in the morning, realize you don't have coffee, you step in dog shit accidentally on your way to work, your boss is in a bad mood, there's some kind of mistake made that normally you don't make, or somebody else makes a mistake and then you have to pay for it. Just a bad day, Looks like you get really anxious and stressed out, and it really bothers you. You might have a day where you just can't stop thinking about it, or you want to explain yourself, or you just something. This looks like a really crappy day to me. But it looks like you run across the path of someone that is extraordinary, that looks very ordinary, or possibly different, whatever you consider different. But someone who has an amazing heart. There's the King of Wands. There are amazing, kind, creative, wise, special people out there. And you have a bunch of people, one person in particular, but possibly a whole bunch of people, where you're learning your way around. You're learning whose energy feels good and whose energy feels terrible. As you're getting to know people, as you're new to a new situation, you're gravitating your way through things, or you're finding your way through the energy. You might think that someone is a good person just based off of first impressions, but then quickly realize that the person is actually a total jerk. And something about it triggers you, or makes you, I'm getting kind of like a little fear in here, or anxiety in here of, oh crap, have I made a really big mistake? I took a huge risk, I made a big choice, I followed my dreams, I'm building a new life, or I'm new to a new life, and what if I made a mistake? Did I really go to the right place? And now I have less than I did before, so it's going to be much harder to get out of if it's the wrong place. Like, you start to panic. I'm feeling panic from this. It's like you encounter a real jerk, and it makes you question your choices, or question what you're doing. Like, oh no, I was so excited and I was so hopeful, and now I'm wondering, did I make the wrong choice? Have I picked the wrong place? Have I bought the wrong house, or whatever? But it looks like your hopes are renewed, because if you just go outside, go for a walk, maybe you get fired, or maybe you quit because you realize the job wasn't for you and it was just too much, or it was too stressful. You might start to panic, like, what have I done? Now I have no job. What am I going to do? Or did I do the right thing? These are all analogies or examples for the energy that I'm getting here. But then you go for a walk to the park. You're kind of in a funk. You strike up a conversation with a pedestrian or somebody walking by or somebody in a nearby bench, or you go to an outdoor event, whether it's a marathon or a festival or a Saturday market or some kind of social event where there's a lot of people from the community around. And you come across someone who is extremely warm, uplifting, optimistic, strong, very empowering, very angelic. I'm getting someone very angelic that comes out of nowhere to cheer you up, to give you hope, to show you that just as there are difficult people, no matter where you move to or where you go, there's always going to be friends, or there's always going to be people that uplift you, make you feel better, and to give you where you're inspired. They inspire you, where you don't feel so alone or isolated, or you see the beauty that is around you. And then in light of that, this is petty and nothing to stop you. So don't become discouraged. You are capable of a lot more than perhaps you thought in the past, or someone is telling this to you. Okay. So you right now have the Ace of Cups. Very nice. This could be a new love of your life, a new love for community, a new love for young people, a new person, a new child entering your life. Or if you have a child, it looks as though your child's skills or talents are being recognized and they're being applauded or being admired for their gifts and their talents, and they may even have some kind of a rite of passage, as in getting an award or winning something or being recognized for something. Maybe they're in the newspaper, maybe they did something successful and now more and more people want to get that from them, or whatever this happens to be. And you're extremely happy for them and proud and want to see more of this. And use that as a storyline for an energy that you want to see more of. You want to see more cooperation, more mutual respect of each person's talents, because everyone has talents. Everyone is special. Everyone has something special about them. So it's not competition in the sense that there's a winner and then there's losers. This is community. This is, what's another, okay, commune is part of communication. Communication in unity. Community. Having people around you that uplift you, that strengthen you, and you do that for each other. Feeling like you belong, feeling accepted, feeling honored. This can be kindred spirits of all different kinds. This could be for someone a new love, or a new love of your life, or a new love for something that you have gone into that you've been learning about, or you showcase your talents somehow and you have a miraculous turnout, or you're noticed. This is caring. Okay, should I pick more? Sure. This reading is turning out longer than I expected. I'm going to try to wrap it up though. All right. Yeah, things are improving. You're off to a great start. You have begun a new beginning in your life that is bringing you you feel so fortunate. You really do. You feel so fortunate, so happy, so blessed, so relieved that things are turning in a good way, or that things are evolving in a good way. What you need will be provided to you. You don't have to worry about things becoming a disaster, or that you've somehow made the wrong choice. You are completely headed in the right direction. and focusing on things like joy, happiness, friendship, community, feeling as though you belong is opening your heart up. It's opening your heart up. It's making you feel better. You might even have an improvement in your health. This could be emotional health, mental health, physical health. There's an improvement here. Okay, so in your surroundings. Yeah. Okay. In your surroundings, there is the Five of Coins. This is a really stark contrast in this picture. There's a woman inside of a casino, and she just won a lump sum of money. And behind her, outside in the freezing cold, are people that look like they wish they had money, or they wish that they had more than they have. So someone in this picture is winning the jackpot, so to speak. Other people are not winning the jackpot, and they may even be losing, or they feel that way. It's a depressing feeling to not have what you need. So what I'm getting here is that if you happen to be... Okay, let's talk about investments. Let's use the analogy that you have invested in a new community. You might be having some kind of extremely fortunate stroke of good luck where you receive a lump sum of money somehow. Maybe you expected it, or you knew it was on the way somehow from the past. Where is it? There's the lump sum of money in that hand. And now she's actually receiving it. And over here, there's a lump sum of money that this family has to take care of all of them. This woman right here looks pretty content and happy about what she has been able to provide for herself or create. Things are off to a really good start. If you are investing in a community, make sure, again, that you are careful with what you're spending your money on. Try not to focus too much on superficial things. I feel like, you know what I feel like this is I don't even have to tell you this. You already know this. You've already been through this. You've already downsized possibly, or you've already been focusing on what truly matters to you and simplifying your life down to what truly matters. And you've already been planning and thinking and envisioning on how you are going to spend this money or invest this money. And so I feel like you possibly may be blessed because you are going to put it back out there and invest it in something that is good for a whole group of people or good for others, not just yourself. And because you have that as your motive, or because you have that as your dream, that you want to spread it around, you want to see things improve, you want to see people's lives improve, you want to spend it or invest it in a way that can bring growth for people, or provide land for people, or housing for people, or a place of peace for people, that you will be spending it on others around you in the ways in which they truly need it. And you're going to be putting a lot of planning into this, into what is the best way to do it, or what do they most need. And because there's a gift in here and there's a warning in here. The gift is that you are going to be receiving what you wished for because you had planned on using it in a very good way that could improve things for other people, not necessarily for yourself as an ego. And because of this, because that was your frame of thinking, you receive it. And then there's a warning in here, which is sometimes when we get lump sums of money, it can blind people, or they become greedy, or they become confused or too spread out with what the heck they're going to do with all of it. Or some people at the last minute get greedy where they want to hang on to it, or they're afraid of people stealing it, or there's a whole number of earthly human instincts that enter the picture once it actually happens. But if you can stick true to your original intent, and if you use it for the greater good, you will have tenfold back in the future, in more ways than one. But you have to hold up with your contract with this. You have to hold up to what you said you were going to do with it. You can't change your mind at the last minute. Because if you do that, if you change your mind at the last minute, if you get stingy all of a sudden, or you don't do what you said you were going to do, this could create extremely bad luck for you in the future. And so be very careful on remaining true to what you truly value here. There are plenty of other people out there that are much less fortunate. But there has to be a way to be able to create it for yourself and for others, and to plan it and be ingenious about it in a special way where it will continue to flow from there rather than being spent and then stopping, if that makes any sense. So your fear is of being overextended, overworked, possibly not meeting deadlines, or being afraid that you're not going to meet deadlines, or that it's too late, or something about timing here. You're feeling or you're afraid of feeling rushed, or that of time running out, or I don't know. This could be creative block. You're afraid of creative block, or you're afraid of not finding a solution to something and then it's too late. I don't know. Let's see what your hope is. What is their hope? Ace of Blades, that things can be improved, that the solution will be found, and that the ideas will come, or the information will come. If you have been worried about health, a lot of your health has been affected by stress in the past, possibly long-term periods of intense stress. It might be that your adrenal system is shot, or your, what are those called? Cortisone levels are extremely low. Is that what it's called? Or you may have had some kind of a weird symptom or something crop up that you are worried about that you need to get checked out. But it may not be as stressful as you are afraid of. It may not be as bad as you're afraid of. So try not to stress. If this is the case for you, it looks as though it's something that can be corrected, or it's something that can be fixed or healed or worked on so it can function better. Or this could be a deadline. It seems like there's a lot going on here. Or you're afraid of losing a pet, or something happening to a pet. Or you want to rescue animals, or you want to if we're using this as a story, rather than helping with money can take on so many different forms. This woman could have a dream about opening up an animal shelter where there can be animal rehabilitation, or there's so many ways to help, because look, she has a little dog with her. You may want to go into funding any number of community things for humans, animals, or plants, or nature too. Preservation of nature, protecting nature, protecting animals, protecting people, helping. But you're working with deadlines. Maybe you're applying for some kind of a grant and things need to be written on time. Or once this is completed, then you'll have much more space and time to be able to pursue other things. This might even be from the past. If you have been a previous office worker, someone who works behind a computer, or had more of an intellectual or a non-physical job, it looks like you're afraid that you're going to somehow end back up there again. Maybe you're coming away from the corporate world, or working for the corporate world, or for any number of things, but it looks like you don't ever want to go back there again. And you're afraid that somehow you'll be forced to take a job like that again. I don't know. So, but the good thing here is that things can be adjusted, things can be fixed, things can be worked on, and solutions can be come up with. So your general outcome is the Queen of Blades, which looks like some kind of scientist or a specialist or a doctor. You may need to get a diagnosis on something or some kind of procedure done in order to correct something. You might have been stressed out because you're not sure how you could afford it or how to take care of everything all at once. This could also be you having to look at things with an almost critical or clinical eye. This is strategy to the max, and hand-eye coordination, having to do the best job from the first time, otherwise mistakes can be made. And those mistakes affect other people. This could be research that you're doing. You could be researching into something. Let me get more information on it. Tell me more about the Queen of Blades as their general outcome. If you've been needing some kind of a diagnosis or to pinpoint whatever the problem has been, it looks as though you get one. And it looks as if you've been needing to find a specialist for something, it looks as though you find them and they're perfect for the job, or they will do a good job. Let's see. Ace of Wands. Wow. There's two approaches you could take, or actually it might be two approaches that you somehow managed to bind together somehow. Here is your new world, or your new life, or the new you, your new surroundings. You have a blank canvas. You can create anything. So don't limit yourself to your potentials or possibilities or what is possible. As long as you take action, as long as you do something, something will happen. And it will start to be created. To me, it almost seems like this Queen of Swords is an expert, right? And you go to her saying, what should I do? And in her very clinical, very precise language, she says, actually, instead of going into my realm of logic, of reason, of mathematics, you should be going in this, because she's pointing right at it. She's saying, this is your solution. Instead of thinking of things so rationally or so logically, sometimes logic can be limiting, because there is magic in the world. There is magic in people. There is magic in hearts. And your heart is capable of so much more than you think. It's creating a combination of reason and logic in with magic and inspiration and creativity. She's saying, this is your solution. This is what you need to do. And both of them are older women that look very intelligent and wise. She looks very, very intelligent. She looks like she knows in her heart. If you look at her face, she knows in her heart exactly, just intuitively, what this woman knows in her mind, and they mirror each other. They both have the same knowledge, just two different forms of understanding it with. One is not any greater or lesser than the other. And even though they are very, very different, when they work together, miracles can happen. So, yeah, notice she's in an urban environment. If you look at the city buildings behind her, it looks like beyond that there are mountains. It almost is if she's saying, get out of the city, get out of the rush and the madness, and go to the countryside where you can focus on what really matters to you. I can't help you in the medical realm because the type of healing that you need right now is emotional and spiritual rather than physical. Although if you do have a physical ailment that you are getting diagnosed, it looks like this is a holistic doctor that is a medical doctor with very extremely intelligent, but also with a knowledge of naturopath or homeopathic or any number of more ancient healing methods, or possibly has a knowledge of nutrition and food as medicine, or that the spiritual body is tied to the physical body. And so I am not telling you that it's psychosomatic or it's not real. It is, but this is your solution for it. And it's almost like this doctor gives you some amazing information that is able to mirror what you already kind of felt, and you are then able to actually do it. And the solution may be extremely simple and exactly what you need. So, okay. Hopefully that made sense or helped someone. That was an odd one because it was so specific. Hopefully that was meant for someone or even a group of you. And I'll see you next month in June. Okay, bye. Take care, you guys.